the season. 'Tis the season. Ghosts and ghouls and skywalkers and wolfmen and the living dead and the deadly living and transformers and, of course, the eternal princess. Tricks or treats? You know, there's a very fine tension in that question. Tricks or treats? And what will the slowly opening door reveal? Do you know, not all surprises come from those who are on the outside of that door. There was the Halloween. My mother paid us a visit. Since I had an evening class, she agreed that she would greet the children and distribute the Hershey Kisses that I had carefully bagged with a note inside, "God really loves you." I put the candy in an obvious place, which was my first mistake. I went to class, probably my second. And I returned home to find a group of very bewildered pirates, teddy bears, Cinderellas, each carrying a carrot or a raw potato, or what I truly, sincerely hoped were hard-boiled eggs. She hadn't found the candy. So, now the neighbors said that those were the lucky ones. Because some had not even survived being greeted at the door by an old woman wearing a mop and shrieking Shakespearean couplets from Macbeth. So, trick or treats. And cups of cold water given to the little ones. What's in the watery depth of the text that you heard? An afrit? An Arabic fire spirit? A basilisk? Any of you remember Harry Potter? A venomous reptilian creature so lethal it has the power to turn people to stone. I know some sermons like that. A bien sith, an Irish, prophetic, angry spirit. A canocephalus, men with the heads of dogs. I particularly like that. I thought that was even a costume that our colleague Paul Scott Wilson might appreciate. Men with the heads of dogs. Trick or treat. Not all monsters, however, appear monstrous. Wendell Johnson, a speech pathologist, designed an experiment in the 30s to disprove a theory that stuttering had a genetic cause. You were born that way. Therefore. Now, nurture, not nature, was his argument. But somewhere on the margins, these good intentions transformed into something else. He reasoned, if labeling children as stutterers might actually make them worse, and perhaps cause even normal children to start stuttering, you hear how the argument goes. Therefore, well, it worked. It worked on 22 orphans who never realized how their tongues got tied, or how their songs turned into stammers, or why their desire to please these instructors who were paying them such careful attention, why that desire made them into outcasts. And they never knew, not for 60 years, until some newspaper reporter got a 50-year-old experiment and outed the experimenter and gave this experiment its infamous name, the monster study. So we do need to study our monsters, for few monsters appear monstrous in the light of day. But you know how simple things in the light of day can go bump in the night. It's the simple things, you know, like a rope, a simple thing, a rope. And you find a tree and you make a knot and you have a swing. Or you take a rope and you find a tree and you make a noose. There be monsters here. In this place, in our time, there be monsters here. And it's what happens when you lose your bearings on the outer margins of this text or context, for marginality and monstrosity are linked. I've obviously lost my way for those who track the lectionary. The readings we heard are from another year, another season. Yet this is what I find on the margins of our common context. These terrifying tales concealed under the red tent of the lectionary. Good intentions gone wrong, awry. A mission for God or a manifestation of repressed fears and desires. Abraham, father of the chosen, Sarah, mother of Israel, and yet these texts of faith are also texts of terror, an ancient code of the uncanny that haunts our notion of God and what is good. See, the skin of the story pulled back reveals the maw of a monster, Sarah giving Hagar to Abraham, sacrificing her as easily as one would sacrifice a lamb. And speaking of sacrifice, and I'll try to tell this story without stammering, there's a story of an old man who had one son, and one day he hears a voice that says, "Kill him. Take him up the mountain and cut his throat." Oh, beware, we should post a sign. There are monsters here. Why would we give this toxic text, never mind how it ends, this toxic text to the little ones, this watery cup? Because if it's a monster story, it is also a revelation. It reveals the fears and the faith of the ancient ones who first heard and then told this story. It marks the margins where order and the ordinary become chaos and new creation. But beware